they've got some news out today. So let's actually talk about where are these people. See, I find it interesting, and not everyone is willing to talk about this, that the candidates in the 2020 election, they're pretty useless on the Democratic side. I mean, they're not talking about issues. They're talking, all of the candidates are following Bernie Sanders. They're pushing to the left, to the farthest fringe of the left, to the political leaders of tomorrow, or plot. They're pushing towards Black Lives Matters and Antifa and the fringe far left. And we see this over and over again. And they keep promising things. And that's the thing that scares me. Because they keep promising they're going to give you something. You've got something. We are going to give you something. Case in point, what's the big news from Elizabeth Warren? She's proposing to give $640 billion to students to eliminate student debt. Now, that's kind of interesting. And I know there's a lot of young people who are thinking, well, that'd be great. I want to get rid of that. And it's actually going to cost $1.5 trillion. Not $640 million. It will cost $1.5 trillion. Now, you got to ask yourself, where does that money go? By the way, the government owns the student loans. And student loans have increased since the government took it over in 2010. That's something that Maxine Waters didn't know and had to be told as she was trying to demonize the banks for the banks having all this. It's not big banks. The banks don't own the student loans anymore. The government does. And the government has continued to own these, making money and raising up the amount of people who owe this. And it's funny because every time Democrats have given more money to student loans and talked about trying to work on the student loans, we've noticed that the debt goes up and the amount of cost of college goes up because, if the government prints money, everyone wants more and colleges charge more. But Elizabeth Warren comes out there and she's saying, well, I'm going to get rid of that $1.5 trillion. Where will it go? How do you just wipe out that debt? That money has to come from somewhere and go to somewhere. It doesn't just disappear. Not that everyone is going to get that, but most people who are under $100,000 would get about $50,000 wiped out, which would take care of most of it. She also wants to get rid of the cost for a 2-year or 4-year public college. Okay, that's also part of her deal. So she's going to wipe out the debt for private colleges, essentially. And depending on which college you go to, the Ivy Leagues, it would only take care of about a year or so of college debt. And she wants to get rid of all the cost for a 2-year or 4-year college if it's a public school. How do you pay for things then? How do these colleges, and you have to ask this question, okay, so it's now free. College is free. Are the professors working for free? And I know many of the professors are very, very liberal and believe in socialism. Fantastic. Who's paying them? Where does that money come from? Because they're not doing it for free. We know that Elizabeth Warren, as an example, gets about $300,000 to teach a class. Where is that $300,000 for Elizabeth Warren's class coming from? Did anyone ask that question? Because they should. And they should ask that question a lot because it's very important. Where is that money coming from? It comes from the public. Now, she likes to say, and in that article, and the article is Warren proposes $640 billion student debt cancellation from Politico on April 23rd, in case you want to look it up. But she says in there that the money's going to come from the rich. She's going to have new taxes for the rich and higher education. I'm quoting her here. Higher education opened 1 million doors for me. That's what she says. It's how a daughter of a janitor in a small town in Oklahoma got to become a teacher, a law school professor, a U.S. senator, and eventually a candidate for president of the United States. You know what she leaves out of this? She got all of that because she lied. Elizabeth Warren didn't get to be all of those things because she went to school. She went to school and lied and said that she was a Native American Indian, took advantage of minority status and the benefits that Democrats enforce, and that got her job. that got her through college and got her reduced rates. So she's playing on an uneven field, and she's lying to people because that's not how she got there. She got there because she lied for decades and took advantage of it and hasn't paid back any of this. She's a millionaire. She hasn't paid back anything. So there's one problem with some of the Democrats, and I want to get into another one. And it's really important because I think it's just as interesting. Where is it here? Here it is. It's Cory Booker. Now, his big thing, and he's trying to steal some of the wind from Joe Biden today. He promises he's going to have a woman as a running mate. That's his big thing. If I get the nomination for the Democratic Party, Cory Booker is looking to have a woman run. And that's all well, fine, and good, except why? Does that mean, why must it be a woman? Is there no one else who is qualified? Is there no one else who's more qualified? What woman? What qualifications? Gender is not a qualification. Now, I understand Cory Booker is way down on the list. No one's paying attention to him. But isn't that something we should ask? Why must it be a woman? What if there's a male that's more qualified? Maybe someone transgendered. Maybe someone gay. Why does it have to be a woman? Does it have to be a woman of color? Why is the gender the thing that's important? Why not say the most qualified person? Why not have your running mate be the person who could run America if something were to happen to you? Isn't that what it's supposed to be? And I have nothing against women. I don't care. I've said before, I believe the Democratic Party is going to nominate one of 3 women. And they're going to have him from president and vice president. It's going to be an all-woman ticket. I stand by that. I still believe that. I said that in October of 2018. I continue to say that. And I continue to say it's going to either be Kirsten Gillibrand, Kamala Harris, or Elizabeth Warren. 2 of those 3. I do not change my opinion because I have yet to see anything that would change it. But why must it be based on the gender or the color? Things that are intrinsic, that have nothing to do with the intelligence of the person, the qualifications, the skills, the experience, the abilities of those individuals. That's just whether or not they have a tan, whether or not they're born one way or another. And I'll get into that when we come back from the break a little bit more. But I think these are really important things to ask. Why is it that the Democratic Party is looking to buy people based on the things, the micro categories they separate people on? This isn't unifying the nation. They're not trying to bring people together. They're separating everyone. Oh, if you're a woman, I can pick you. If you happen to be a person of color, I can pick you. If you hit this correct box, this micro category, then you're worth something. Otherwise, you're not important. That's kind of scary. That's something we should really think about and really have a conversation about because it's dangerous. It is the forerunner of some of the worst types of governments we have seen around the world. Evaluating people, and I say this all the time, but I'll say it again, evaluating people based on the fact that they fit this box, whether you want to call it the master race or superiority or whatever. When you start identifying that certain people are better than other people, then we have a problem. When we stop thinking about what are the consequences of actions, we have a problem. When you start ignoring the economics and just saying and promising the sky, as we've seen with the Obama stimulus, which did not fix the recession, and in fact extended it. When we see cash for clunkers, which hurt the U.S. economy. When we see Obamacare, and you don't get to keep your doctors. When we get to see the red flag and gun control, 22,000 gun control laws. We see it doesn't make people safer. We get lots of promises from a lot of politicians, especially Democrats, and it never works. But you lose more and more freedom each and every time. You become more dependent on the government each and every time. You should be scared of that. I am. But what we'll do right now is we'll take a quick break, and then I'll come back and we'll talk about a couple of other very interesting aspects of what we're going to see coming up very shortly.